Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of the Fishing Teacher, and much appreciated you guys checking today's video out. Always appreciate that. And guys, today we're going to be talking about the most common mistake that anglers make when they're fishing in the wind. There's one huge mistake they make that's costing them fish. I see a lot of people do it, so we're going to talk about it in today's video, give you guys some tips and advice on how to actually fish the right way in the wind. Also, guys, before we get started, just a quick invitation, like to invite everybody to please hit that subscribe button here to the Fishing Teacher. It's free and easy. We also got channel memberships available too. And also, one other quick thing I'd like to do is invite you guys to check out our spring Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns. We got all of our breakdowns for spring up. These are our map breakdowns that I build specifically for Fish the Moment. So I'll put the link in the description there if you guys would like to check those out. So really appreciate that, guys. Okay, biggest mistake that people make when they're fishing in the wind. From what I have seen, and one of the things I highly suggest that you don't do, guys, is try to avoid fishing into the wind. Now, when I go fishing, it's like almost everybody that I see is positioning their boat and they're fishing into the wind. And I don't really understand why they do this or what got them to doing that. I think a lot of people, they have this misconception that, you know, the bass are going to be facing in the direction of the current and the wind all the time, and that's why they got to be casting into the wind. You don't want to do that, guys. The only situation, and I'll explain here just in a second why, but the only situation that you ever want to fish into the wind is if you are locked in on one spot. Let's say, for example, you've got a brush pile and 15 foot of water on the end of the point that you're casting to. A situation like that where you're casting to one spot, yeah, you might have to put your boat in the wind. But when you're just fishing down a bank or fishing wherever you're fishing, go with the wind all the time. I don't care how hard the wind's blowing. If it's barely rippling the water or if it's blowing 20 miles an hour, go with the wind. Now, and I do this, guys. One of the things I do before I shut down is I look at how the waves are coming against the bank, even if it's that much of a chop, and I always want to go with the wind because, first of all, if you go with the wind, you're a lot more quiet, you're a lot more stealthy. You don't have to use the trolling motor as much. If you're positioning your boat, fishing into the wind, your trolling motor's on pretty much all the time. So you can drift with the wind and just sort of touch your trolling motor occasionally to keep you in a straight line. That's one thing, but the next thing with it is your lure presentations are more realistic. It's like when you cast with the wind, you can make a farther cast and your line lays better in the water and you can manipulate that lure underwater better. But if you try to cast into the wind, number one, it's going to cut your distance down greatly depending upon the type of lure you're throwing. You're not going to attain the depth out of the bait because you can't cast as far, and you lose contact with the lure. So try to just go with the wind as much as you can, or at least go at the wind at a 45-degree angle, and just, you know, condition yourself to doing that. It's like one of the things that, like I said, that I do every single time, and one of the pieces of advice I'll give you guys is when you're running down the lake and you see a good looking spot you want to fish, rowboat docks or, you know, whatever that you may be fishing, just take note of the direction that the wind's coming. Is it going, you know, one way down the bank or the other way, and get upwind and drift down to the targets you want to fish with that. Now, a lot of times, even if the wind's blowing too fast, and you feel like you're fishing too fast through an area, you can always crank up and make another drift down through there. That's usually what I do all the time. I don't sit there and fight the wind trying to slow me down. I make multiple drifts over one area if I feel like I'm going too fast. But guys, the amount of bites that you get, I can assure you, the amount of bites that you get by switching around and going with the wind is going to greatly surprise you. I mean, it's just sort of one of those deals where I don't quite understand how it's got to the point where so many people do that. I guess they don't like to drift with the wind, or I'm not sure what it is, but it's one of the biggest myths in fishing that I've ever seen. And it's not like I haven't tried it the other way. I've tried both ways with it, and without a doubt, going with the wind is the way to go anytime that you can. So anyway, give it a try. I hope it helps out. We'll talk later.